So I mentioned this focus rectangle. Let's go back into our application and have a bit more of a closer look at it. There's a number of ways in ActionScript that we can interact with this focus rectangle. Let's start off by changing the color of it, because that bright yellow sure doesn't match the rest of our application. So in our Actions panel, let's use something that we've seen before, an fs command 2 function. Now we've seen this function access the player before to tell it to play at full screen. fs command 2 is the way that the flash file interacts with certain aspects of the actual device. In this case, we want to interact with the color of the focus rectangle. This time, rather than putting in full screen, we're going to put in set focus rect color. And the following attributes are going to be the RGB, or the red, green and blue values that are going to make up the color of the focus rectangle. So let's type in 235 for red, 220 for green, and 145 for blue. Let's save our application and see what difference this has made. Now, when we bring the input text field into focus using the emulator, you can see that the yellow's gone and we've got this nice tan color which matches in a lot more with the design of the application. When we also scroll down to the join button, we're still getting the brown border around the button. Because button objects already have an overstate, so a visual way of displaying when the button is being rolled over, we don't really need the focus rectangle to be on buttons. We're going to go back into our Actions panel and add some more ActionScript that's going to remove the focus rectangle just from the button itself. Okay, so we have our fs command ActionScript, which is setting the focus rectangle color, but now we want to remove the focus rectangle just from the join button itself. So in the Actions panel, we're going to reference the join button via its instance name. And of course, this is inheriting all of the native methods and properties of a button, because that's what we've set it as the data type. And one of these properties is _focusRect, which refers to the focus rectangle that's visible when the button receives its focus. So in this case, we've just turned off the focus rectangle specifically for the join button instance. Okay, let's save our application and test it again. Now let's scroll down and bring focus to the input text field, which is still our nice tan color. And if we bring the focus down again, you can see that the join button has its overstate, so what we've designed the button to look like when focus is brought to it, but we no longer have the focus rectangle over the top of it. This might seem a small thing, but really the ability to control focus and the way that that's displayed on your application is quite powerful. Now something else that you can do with setting focus normally in say a web page form is being able to automatically set the focus to a particular form field. That's what we're going to do now for the input text field we have in our join form. In ActionScript we have a specific object for selections, and obviously it's called the selection object. The selection object allows us to set focus to whatever is selected at the time. So we use the set focus property of the selection object and then assign the instance name of what we want to bring into focus. In this case, it's the username text field. And we should see that the username text field automatically has focus. Okay, so save and test the application. And there we have it. The focus rectangle is already positioned around the input text field. Now that we've started to work more with visual assets on the stage of our application, let's start to see how to better organize this via ActionScript and controlling the flow of the screens that appear after the user interacts with our application.